think, when you look, there has been a lot of discussion around bravery and the need for bravery in advertising, and I think it's a good question, which is, what is the definition of bravery? I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think, I think there are two types of organizations. I think one that was built of a past generation. The focus of that past generation has always been to manage their kingdom build, and make sure that I don't disrupt what I've built here. Whereas organizations that have been built of this generation, they're so afraid because technology moves so fast that they're going to be disrupted by the technology itself. Who cares about people working in the organization or other organizations? The actual thing that they build on top of is changing rapidly. So these guys are all about destruction, continual destruction, destruction, destruction. And so I think that, first of all, there's just a mindset shift that we need to employ as organizations, which is, we will be destroyed. Somebody will eat our lunch very quickly. How do we eat our own lunch from ourselves? How do we destroy ourselves? And that requires a sense of bravery, but we also talk about it as fearless. So we talk about, how do we celebrate fearless marketers who charge into the fire with no fear whatsoever.
Bravery is a lot about having a point of view, and a point of view about where the market's going, and a point of view about how you interact with your customers and how you enable them to be brave.
For me, I think bravery is the courage to take risks and try new things. It's easy to get caught up in continuing to do what you've always done, or just making it a little better. And I'm a big believer in avoiding the curse of incrementalism. So I think that courage and bravery are really stepping back and not being afraid to try new things, recognizing that many of them may work and many of them may not work. I think it also means creating a culture of courage where people aren't afraid to take risks, and recognize that if it was well thought out, it was unsuccessful, that's part of the learning process.
Bravery in advertising and media is taking risks, trying new things, being willing to share successes and share failures equally, and to be really comfortable with a spirit of continuous learning and innovation.
Well, bravery to me is the lack of planning. People that are brave are people that get themselves in a mess, and therefore have to get themselves out of that mess. Everything I try to do has a plan behind it. So, I think the risk of being brave is the risk that you genuinely have no idea what you're doing, and therefore you're flying by the seat of your pants. Whilst my crystal ball, or anyone's crystal ball, might not be particularly clear, I think the one thing is to have one. Everyone that doesn't have a plan is brave.
It meant not being afraid to take a position, not being afraid to innovate, and then not being afraid to be wrong, and to change, and to keep on pace with kind of where you want to go and what you need to do. You cannot be afraid. We used to say every day, there is nothing to be afraid of, there is nothing we can't do. And if you believe that, you will accomplish amazing things.
We are always looking for ways to move into new spaces, both with our brands or in new things that are happening in the marketplace. So programmatic buying, a great example. We have a private exchange that we've built out. So it's always being right on trend, not behind the trend, and also maybe not too far ahead of the trend, but sort of on trend and leading on the trend, leading on that edge. So when you do that, you're able to, sometimes it's the brave new world that you're stepping into, but you've got to be brave and putting your toe and sometimes your feet in the water.
And so I think to have an experimental mindset, to me, is an active way or an active translation of bravery.
I think bravery is about really embracing technology to try new methods of engaging with consumers rather than just relying on the safe methods that have worked in the past.
I think bravery is the ability to look at all your diagnostics, your metrics, and then make an educated decision, perhaps not to go in the direction of a marketing campaign. That takes bravery. It's the ability to look at something that can't be substantiated or tracked or proven, and saying, okay, I'm not saying you go on a wing and a prayer, I'm saying you look at the numbers, you look at the story. Bravery takes somebody who has good enough business acumen, who knows a good idea from a bad idea, even though the numbers might tell you something differently.
Often the best, most successful initiatives that are put out in place, the most brave initiatives, are those that kind of build off of a simple theory and deliver, a unique offer and unique value to an end consumer.
You think you could be brave because you have a crazy idea, but maybe truly being brave is taking criticism, dealing with it, incorporating it, and then coming up with new ideas that are an evolution of the thinking that incorporate many different opinions across the organization, but still solve the problems that you're going after.
If you pull it back and just say, what is Bravery on a day-to-day basis, it's about action behind words. And I think what we see a lot in the marketplace is a lot of rhetoric, but not a lot of action. And I think people need to start, they put your money behind where your mouth is, really make the changes, really implement, don't be afraid to fail fast, but act. Above all, do something and act, and I think that is the bravest action that you can do.